Yeah, we should discuss the full name of Ruvain Yosef ben Brina, a person who's unfortunately has a bad case of lung cancer that I know. Ruvain Yosef ben Brina. Okay, very interesting Gemara. As interesting as yesterday's Gemara, but also very interesting Gemara today. Let's go over the Mishnah on Pei Aleph Amid Beis. Pei Aleph Amid Beis, the last Mishnah on the page. Hagoynif kasva. Someone steals a kasva. The Gemara will say it's a klisharis. By makalo b'koisem, and someone is makalo for a koisem. This is makalo koisem. We'll see what that means. And v'boil aramis, and with that we're going to spend a lot of time. If someone's boiling aramis is a guy. Someone who has relations with a guy. All these three cases, kanoyim poigin boy. If you're a kanoi, if you're a person who goes ahead and cares so much about the Kavod HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it fires you up to the extent that you want to act upon it. In certain scenarios, you're able to go ahead and kill the person. As we'll see, we'll give a gather to it today. So those three halachas: a kohen that someone who steals a klishares, someone who is makalo b'koisem, we'll see what that is, and someone who's boil aramis. Kohen, another. Those all three are kohen plugin ba. Kohen sheshimesh betuma. A kohen that's mishamish betuma b'mezid. He goes in b'mezid, is mishamish betuma, and I assume he's a repeat offender. That's my assumption. Right? That's my assumption. It's a repeat offender. Ain't achiv hakohanim mevin asay lebezdin. His fellow kohanim not bring him to bezdin. El pirchei kahuna moitzin asay chutz la'azara. The pirchei kahuna take him outside the azara. It's interesting. They're really worried about tumah, so they go ahead. They take him outside the azara. Umaptzin es moicher. They bash his brains in b'gezirim with clubs. Again, these dafim are the chutz to arba misas bezdin. Right? We're discussing the unique situations such as what. Putting yesterday a guy in a kippah, putting him in a cell, and starving him till he breaks his stomach open, and we have the din of kanoyim poigin ba, and then a permit to kill somebody. We're using the concept of kanoyim poigin ba, and now a special halacha by a kohen that if mishamish betuma, that the kohen will be able to kill him. Zor sheshimish b'migdash. However, a zor, a non-kohen, is mishamish in the migdash. Rabbi Kiva oimer b'chenek. You get chenek. V'chacham oimrim b'dei shemayim. You get misa b'dei shemayim. Hashem will take care of it. Okay, so the first three halachas we're going to deal with today was hagoynif es a kisva, and someone who's koisem es a koisem mekal b'koisem, and someone who's boil aramis is kanoyim poigin ba. My kasva. What is a kasva that you steal? Some Rabbi Yehuda is klishares. A person steals a klishares. So it's not kasva happens to be a small klishares. The Miri says it's a small one, so it's easy to steal. V'cheinu oimer ves kisois hanasech. This type of kli, one of the rods in the Beis Hamikdash. So you see the lashon kisois and the lashon kasva. The hecher misa that what yechayev misa for stealing it. It says v'lo yavo liras kabbalas hakodesh v'mesu. Pasuk at the end of Parshas Bamidbar is describing that when they would go ahead, it would be an issa to mistakel in the clay amigdash. The clay amigdash had to be covered. When they were traveling, there were different colors for different kalim, different literally sacks to put them in. So you shouldn't go ahead and look at them. If you do, if the Bnei Levi would look at them, they would be chayiv misa. So it's Kabbalah's lashon like the stealing to cover up something. So this is an allusion to if someone steals a clay kodesh, similar to what the kalim of the Beis Hamikdash, you'll be chayiv misa. But Makalo b'koisem, what does Makalo b'koisem mean? Now, we saw Birchas Hashem. Birchas Hashem is when you Makali the Shem with the Shem. Yaakov Yosef is Yosef, right? This is where you want the koisem, the supernatural power that you're davening to, the Chalila to Makalo the Shem. Tan Rabbi Yosef. Yaakov koisem es koismoi. The koisem, the natural, the magician, whatever you're giving powers to, should go ahead and curse the one who gave him the powers. Kaviyachal l'kadosh baruch hu. This is another way of Birchas Hashem. Whereas Birchas Hashem is using the shame to makal the shame. This is you using the koisem, the magician's power to makal the shame. Rabbana v'tem Rabbi Mariyama yakeu koisem loy. The koisem should curse this individual, whoever he's cursing. ulakainai into the Rebbeinu Shalom, his creator, ulamiknai, and the person was makna. The lashon. Okay, so that's these two situations: stealing the kasra kli migdash or koisim. Because that is kanayim poigim ba, and the third one, and that's the subject of the daf, which is much more appropriate in a way, is the subject of kind of boilus aramis. Boilus aramis. So someone's boil a goy, then kanoyim poigim ba. Boy mine Rav Kahana me Rav. Loi poigim ba kanoyim mahu. What happens? You boil aramis, and a person's not poigim. In other words, a kanoy doesn't go get him. A kanoy doesn't go get him, so he's boil aramis, and a guy doesn't go get him mahu. So in Nashi Rav legamre, Rav completely forgot. It's Gemara in Sukkah. It says Rav didn't sleep too much. So it's important to know they didn't sleep too much, so he forgot. Why is it important to know? Because Akruya Rav Kahana bechelmei. Rav Kahana had a dream. No, Rav forgot the halacha, and his Talmud Rav Kahana is having the dream. In fact, why didn't Rav have the dream? And the answer is because Rav didn't sleep too much, guys. Rav didn't sleep so much; he didn't have the dream. So what was the dream? The lashon of the pasuk. It says, "Bogda." Where is that pasuk? Bogda Yehuda v'toyeva nessa b'Yisrael. Yehuda's rebelled, and the toyeva is done in Klal Yisrael. U'b'Yushalayim ki chilel Yehuda kodesh Hashem asher ohev u'bol bas el necher. That's what the pasuk says. So let's start from the pasuk now. So that's the pasuk that Rav Kahana had in his dream. So Amalei, Rav Kahana told Rav, Hachi Akrayun, this is what happened. As soon as he mentioned the dream he had, Atkre Rav Lagamre, Rav remembered immediately. In other words, this pasuk started his memory, and now he was able to go ahead and remembered completely what the halacha is. Bogda Yehuda, Zu Avodas Kechavim. The Chenu Oimer came Begaratem be Beis Yisrael, no Hashem. So Lashon Begaratem, they rebelled against Hashem by serving Avodah Zarah. So Lashon of Bogda alludes to Avodah Zarah. B'to'eva Nessa B'Yisrael, the pasuk said in the Malachi, U'B'Yushalayim, said Mishkav Zacha. That refers to Mishkav Zacha, right? It's Nus with a man. The Chenu Oimer Ve'Zacha Lo Tishkav Mishkvei Ishay Tayevehi. It's Mamash Tayeva. So Tayeva B'Yisrael. That also he remembered that. Kichilel Yehuda Kodesh Hashem. Who is that? Zuzayna. L'cheinu Oimer. The pasuk, like we have the pasuk on the side. Leisia Kedesha V'nais Yisrael. Right? They should not have Kedesha in Kedesh Yisrael. Me'aloi. So Ubal Bas El Necher. Zeh Abalakutis. That's Balakutis. That's a Balakutis. Uksiv Basrei. And why does it say afterwards? In other words, why does it say afterwards? It says, Yachreis Hashem leish asher yasena va'oina mi'ola Yaakov. So Yachreis Hashem leish asher yasa va'oina. So Yachreis Hashem, so l'chayr Hashem is going to cut him off. So Smashon boil aramis is chayv karis. Boil aramis is chayv karis. Yachreis Hashem leish asher yasa va'oina mi'ola Yaakov. Umagash minchas Hashem tzvakos. In Talmud Chacham who? Lo yeh lo er b'chachamim. If he's a Talmud Chacham, Lashon er, he won't have one who's ma'ara questions, guys. Like ma'aros, he ma'ara questions. And or v'oina b'talmidim. He won't have a child that will go ahead and answer with talmidim. That's it would be Baal Aramis. If a Talmud Chacham is Baal Aramis, his children will not follow in his path. Im kain who? Ben Magish Minchel Hashem Tzvakas. He won't have a son to go ahead around him and do the avodah. So that's in a Baal Aramis. Rav Chia bar Avuya says Rav Chia bar Avuya Kol Abala Kutis Kilu Mischatim Ba'Avodas Kechavim. It's like you made a chasna with a guy. Dichsiv Ubol Bas El Necher. V'chi Bas Yesh Lo El Necher. Does an avodah zarah have what a bas? Elazeh Abala Kutis. So it's if what you mishadach with an avodah zarah. So once we mention Rav Chia bar Avua, the Gemara continues to discuss something that he said, which has nothing whatsoever to do with the tea in China, but we'll bring it in anyway. Okay, we know there was three Goliaths. There was Goliath Yayakam, Goliath Yechanya, and Goliath Tzidkiyahu. So Yoakim was one of the last kings of Yehuda. There was a Golos in his time. He was a Russian of Russia. He scoffed at Yirmiyahu, gave him Musa, he scoffed at it, and his ending was not so well. Al Gilgato Shel Yayakim. You know what's written on the skull of Yayakim? Zois, this, V'oid Acheres, and an additional one. This and Oid Acheres. That was written on the skull. So Kenoid the Rav Preda, the Zayd the Rav Preda, who happened to be Rav Chia Bar Avur, guys. And the one they're discussing that. They referred to him as he was the Zakin of Rav Preda of Erevin fame. Remember, he went ahead Rav Preda taught a Talmud 400 times. Rav Preda until the Talmud remembered it was Rav Preda. Ashka Hugal Gulta, he found his skull. Davishadya B'Shar Yerushalayim, he found the skull lying what in the Shar of Yerushalayim. And was written on the skull, Zois V'oid Acheres. So what did he do? He covered it up. That's what you do. And guess what? It resurfaced. Came up again. Kavra, he reburied it. And it resurfaced again. Omar said Rav Chia Bar Avua, he said, Hai Golgolta Shel Yayakim. This must be the skull of Yahayakim. The Chsiv Bey, it says by him, Kvuris Chamor Yikaver, Sachayv, V'hashlech Mehala, L'shar Yerushalayim. He says, he'll be buried with the burial of a Chamor, dragged and thrown beyond the gates of Yerushalayim. Amma said Reb Chia Bar Avua, Malkahi, nonetheless, he was a melech. Nonetheless, he was a melech, right? So if he was a melech, it's not the way of a melech to be mvusa. So what did he do? I can't bury him because obviously that's not working. So shakla korcha b'shiroi, he took it, he surrounded it with silk, for oisvei b'sifta, and he put it in a box. So he had the skull in a box. The cover that can't bury it, but for it should be b'vizayin. Asi de Visayu, and his wife came, and Chazise, and she saw, can you imagine? She was doing a little Pesach cleaning, and lo and behold, she opens the box and showing, what do you see? A cup, a cup bena. Nafkis, Amr lahu l'shivasa. She went outside and told her neighbor what happened. So Amri la, hadi sasa kamaisahi. You know what? That's his first wife. That skull is the skull of his first wife. The loy komenashila. He didn't forget her. So in other words, he's keeping it around not to forget her. Then the koyach v'yenta, let me tell you. Anyway, shagros l'tanura. What happened? He lit up the furnace. She threw it in the furnace. So Kalsa and burnt it. Right? Kiyasa, when he came home, Rav Chia Bar Avu and his wife gave him a zug. So Amrullah said, "Hainu dechsev alave." That's what it said about Yoyakim's skull. Zois v'oid acheres. Zois not only won't be buried, v'oid acheres. Look what's going to happen to it. It's showing tight, and look what's happened to it. Anyway, that's the end of the digression. Kiyas Rav Dimi Amar Beis Dinu Shel Chashmonai Goizu. The Beis Dinu Shel Chamoy were Goizer. Habol akutis chayv alem mishum nashkar. If someone is boil akutis, you're over on nashkar. Kiyas Ravin Amar mishum nashkais. Okay, now what is the nun is nida? Even though there's no nida by a guy, they were Goizer. Shin is shifcha. That's if your boil is shifcha. Gimel is a goyeta. And Aleph is an Eishesish if she's married. But even though there's no, the Chacham Goys, even though there's no Ishis by a Goy, there were Goys are Eishesish. When Ravin came, he said there's no Ishis by a Goy, but Zayin, if you're a Kohen, it's Psul Zaina. Right? Neither Shifcha Gevir Zaina. Aval Mishum Ishis Leslahu. V'idach and Rav Dimi, why does he hold that Aleph instead of Zayin? I used Choriz Gerech, there's no Ishis by a Goy. Neshayu vaday loy mafkeri. The men won't be mafkeri their wives, and therefore, at least they have the concept of what of bimiyache. This woman's for me, and melomad. You'll be over on that. Amrav Chista, haboli molech. If someone comes to say, "What's the halacha?" You see, boil kananis. What should I do? Ein moirin lo. You don't tell him go ahead kanoyim poigim. You don't go tell him to kill him, guys. The din of kanoyim poigim, as we're going to see, is a reaction, and it has to be by a kanoy, and it's instantaneously. You have to go ahead and say, 1 second. First, okay, what do you do? And they tell you, and he goes, "Am I a kanoi?" You're not a kanoi. You're a kanoi. It's krichsacharayin. It really it's in your bena that this is staring you greatly. I mean, there's certain things that I'm sure every one of us has a certain thing that really grades upon him when things are done. For example, talking in shul really bothers me very much when I hear people talking in shul. But like, it grades upon me to the extent that it just really bothers me. And on occasion, I've said things and to my detriment because I said it in anger and it didn't come out well. But I think that's the closest thing I can get to the idea of kanoi, that this is something that really, really bothers me very much that people talk in shul. So it has to bother you very much that this thing is occurring. And as we'll see with Pinchas. Itmanami, Amar Rabba Rav Chana, Rav Yochanan, Haboli Molech, if someone comes to ask what to do, you don't tell him to go ahead and kill the person. Elishim Pirish Zimri Vahargu Pinchas Neragalov. Now, we're going to do the Maisa of Zimri and Pinchas. I'm not going to do it inside. Let me just do it outside quickly. We know that Bilam was unsuccessful in cursing Klal Yisrael. He was very unsuccessful. As Adrabah, he ended up what? He ended up blessing Klal Yisrael. But what he did was he knew one thing. He said that Hakadosh Baruch Hu could not exist with his tumah snus. With his tumah, with his immorality, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't exist. It's the antithesis of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he gave an eitzah for the Midyanim and the Moyavim to go ahead and be Nichshal Klal Yisrael in Kedusha, in Inyani Kedusha, V'kachoya. And that was the Maisa of Baal Pa'ar, and you had they were dying. 24,000 people died as a result of this Magefa. In the middle of Magefa, again, this public znus going on. Zimri, the melech of the nasi of Shevet Shimon, he goes ahead and he talks the head of all the Zionists, Cosby, who was the daughter of the king, to be with him, and it's in a public forum. It's in a tent, and everyone knows about it. And Pinchas hears about it. Pinchas takes a roimach. He goes ahead. He takes a sword. He goes ahead, not a sword, a spear. He goes in and he kills both of them. That's the story. And Kadosh Baruch Hu loved what he did, and Pinchas, as a result, becomes a kohen. Pinchas becomes a kohen. Guys, I once heard of a great shot. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron a kohen, right? So why wasn't he a kohen right away? Why do you have to wait till afterwards? Look at the zichas. Aaron, Elazar, Pinchas. It's a geschmack. A kohen that kills b'shoigeg, even b'shoigeg, can't do it. If Pinchas would have gone ahead and been a kohen and then killed Zimri, he wouldn't have been able to do him to avenge Klal Yisrael. The reason Kadosh Baruch Hu went ahead and waited is because Shmak is anything shot. He waited, guys. Why did he wait? In order that he be a kohen after the fact, therefore he can go ahead and bench Klal Yisrael. It's beautiful. I don't remember b'shem. I heard it. I don't remember b'shem. I feel bad. I wish I could tell you b'shem who, but it's wonderful, wonderful pshat, right? Anyway, so here's the story. So now he's about to kill him. The din of Kanoi and Poigin Boy, as we're going to see, is b'shas Maisa. After he won't be able to kill him. If he's Pirish, once he leaves, he won't be able to kill him. In fact, if Zimri would have seen what Pinchas is doing to him, Zimri would have been able to go ahead in self-defense, kill Pinchas. Other people would not be able to kill Pinchas. In other words, when the halach of a roidif we saw is that what? If someone's roidif after chaveru lahargoi, anyone's able to kill the roidif. That's not by Kanoi and Poigin Boy. No one else could have killed Pinchas, except Zimri could have killed him in self-defense. Let me see from this Gemara. It says the Gemara. If he would have separated from Cosby, Vahargu Pinchas, Neragalav, right? Then what? And the Pinchas would have been killed. If Zimri Vahargoi Pinchas, Neragalav. If he would have gone ahead and separated, and Pinchas would have killed him, Pinchas would have been killed. Nebach Zimri Vahargu Le Pinchas. And if Zimri would have separated and killed Pinchas, ain't Nerag gonna love. He wouldn't have been killed. Shai Raidifu, because he was a Raidif. Okay, so he was a Raidifu. So, but it's unique to those two people. Vayam and Moshe al Shafte Yisrael, right? Halach Shifta Shal Shimon Eitzel Zimri ben Salo Yamuloi. Hein done it in the fashists. The Baal Pa'ar guys, that each Shavit was done in the fascists. Those who were initial Baal Pa'ar, They were chayiv misa. They were having a massive, massive, massive judgment. Hilchos Dinin Nefashos. So they came to Zimri and they said, "Your landsman, they're being judged for Baal Par. V'ata Yoshev v'shaisek, and you're sitting in quiet. Ma'asa, what did he do? Amad v'kibitz chaft alef elef from Yisrael. He gathered 24,000 Klal Yisrael. V'holach etzel Cosby, and then Zimri went to Cosby. Amalah Hashmieli, he propositioned her. Amaloi, she said to him, Bas Melech ani, I'm the daughter of a king. V'chein tzivali Abba like Tishmiya, I should not go ahead and give myself over. Elu legadol shebehem to Moshe. Amallah, he said to him, 1 second. Afhu, meaning himself, he's speaking third person. Afhu, Nasi, Shavit. I'm also the Nasi of a Shavit. Who? V'layoid ela shehu gadol mimenu. I'm bigger than Moshe. Shehu shleni lebaten. He is from, right? I am Shehu, me myself, Sheni lebaten. Ruvain Shimon was the second one to Yaakov. V'hu and Moshe, Shlishi lebaten is a Levi. He's the third born of Yaakov. So Tafsa Risa, he grabbed her by a hair. They via Eitzel Moshe, schlepped her to Moshe. Amalai Ben Amram. That's always a derogatory term. Zu Asura oy Muteres. In Taima Asura, Bas Yisro Mia Tirulacha. Who permitted you to go ahead and marry Tzipporah? Right. Now we know that was before Matan Torah. This is after Matan Torah. That's Rashi speaks out. How was he able to marry Bas Yisro? It's before Matan Torah. Ben Noach. This Almay Mena Halacha, and Moshe did not know the halacha. Go kula mebchia. Everyone began to cry. V'ayinu d'chsev v'hema boichim pesach el moyed. Uksev v'yar Pinchas ben Elazar. Ma ra amarav ra ma'isa. He saw the what happened. V'niska halacha, and he remembered the halacha of kanayim poigim ba. Amaloi achi abba. Amaloi achi avi abba. The brother of the brother of my father's father. You're the brother of my father's father. My father's is Elazar. His father is Aaron. You are the brother of what? I don't know why he makes it into a Yevamist term. But he goes, you are the brother of what? Of my father's father. Good? Did you not teach me? No, so you reminded him the halacha. So Amaloi, so Moshe said very famously, Kraina digrisa iu lahavi parvanka. The one who goes ahead, what? And he's the who he delivers the message, go ahead and carry it out. Now, it's very geschmack. Moshe didn't tell him to kill him. Why? Because if you ask, a Marinloi, guys, you had a shot over here. Guys, eye contact. It's a beautiful diak over here. You just told me if someone asks, you can't tell him to kill him. So Moshe didn't say kill him. Moshe said, the one that remembered it, let him deliver the message. So he hinted to it, but he didn't tell him to kill him. He didn't tell him outright because he's not allowed to. So what did he tell him? He said, Kraina digrisa, the one who read the letter, Ihu lahavi parvanka, let him be the postmaster. In other words, you will take care of it. Ushmul Amar, Ra, what did he see? Shein chachmein tfuna vein eitzen neged Hashem. What do we dash from there? Kamakim sheyistil Hashem in cholchen kavod l'Rav. Anytime there's a chil Hashem, you don't give cover to the Rav. Bevitzuk Amar Rabbi Lazar Ra sheba malach v'hishkes ba'am. But he saw a malach again. 24,000 people died. So Pinchas saw the malach hamaves. Vayakam mitoch ha'eda. What did he do to end this? He got up mitoch the eda. Vayikach roimech biyadai. He took a roimach, a spear. Mikan shein nechtasim b'kli zayin lebeis hamedrash. He went ahead, fellas. When did he take the spear? Only after he left the base medrash. It's because you don't bring in the base medrash, you don't bring a kli zayin in the base medrash. Bisman hazeh, it's interesting that people do. There are people. You be aware that in shul people pack guns because of the. I guess this is when there's no sakana. Then you can't bring a weapon into the base medrash. But when there is a sakana, then it would be permitted, right? Because we know you should know that. I know in Rabbi Rotkin's shul there are people who pack. I know in Rabbi Schiffenbauer's shul there are people who pack. You don't know who they are, but they're in shul there are people who have guns. I'm sure in Lakewood as well there are people who do have guns, and then they get licenses and they have guns. But the heta would be, I would assume that it's a sakana. A sholaf, anyway, Shalaf Shinana, he took off the Shinana, Lenny. He took off the Shinana over here was to be the sharp. Remember sharp? He took off the sharp part of the spear, the head, the arrowhead of the spear. He took that off. He put it in his cloak. So now what did he have? He had a stecken. He had a walking stick. V'hoya Nishan, he was taking the stick. And he was walking like he had a stecken. So the people would not be think that he's doing something clandestinely to kill him. The Kimin Shagia Eitzel Shifter Shal Shimon. He got to the Shevet of Shimon. Again, you're talking about guys. This was perfect. Befar Hesia. This was mamish public znus. Amar Heichim Matzinu Shifter Shal Levi Godlam Mishal Shimon. Amru Haniach Loi Afulas Tzrachab. In other words, just because you think you're bigger, listen. I also want to be involved. So they let him in. Nichnis, hitirui prushim esadavar, right? And hitiru prushim esadavar. I guess they it's a lashon of they allowed him in. Exactly, is the taich over here? Yeah, I guess the ones who Pirish, he said the people they said about Pinchas that even Pinchas that he's able to do this. Okay, in other words, that mattered him, that was in a bigger heta for them, right? It was a bigger heta that look, even is being involved in this. Rabbi Yochanan, Shisha Nisim Nasalei Pinchas, six Nisim happened for Pinchas. Echad, Shahayalei LeZimri Lifresh V'lei Perish. Zimri, when he came in, should have stopped being with Cosby, but he was still with her. In other words, the only time you can kill him is when they're both together in intimacy. If he was Pirish from her, even though they were still together, you won't be able to kill. That was the first one. And Zimri should have called out, I'm being killed, right? And he didn't call out. He took the spear and he got them in the place of the genitalia. And the echad shlei nishpatu min haroimich is that when he picked them up, they didn't slip off the roimich. The echad sheboy malach v'gbia es hamashkaif. He was walking out with them. It would have been hard to go ahead and open the door and carry it out. The echad sheboy malach v'hishkas ba'am, and malach came and began killing a lot of people. So that distracted that they stayed away from him. Those are six. It's interesting, guys. I'll give you a very nice marmakan. Parshas Bolok, Perik Chof Hei, Pasik Ches, in Yomis Ben Uziel. Perik Chof Hei, Pasik Ches, Yomis Ben Uziel, brings down 12 Nisim. One of the Nisim, this is unbelievable. They didn't die right away. If they would have died right away, there would have been Tumas oil. So he carried them out, they were still alive. And therefore what? There was not, they weren't mitama anyone, any of the Kahanim were in that tent. In addition, it says the dam did not drip upon him. It says the chayra that dam, well, if they weren't dead, so it's not dam mace, it's not mitama. So it's mashma dam nido, it was nikrash, it was coagulated, it wouldn't draw on him. Also, it says that the way it came, it was the way he stabbed them came out, it was the other direction, so it switched around the man and the woman. 12 other nisim that happened among these six, another additional six that happened occurred. I would think that one of the nisim was that he was strong enough to carry out two people on a sword, on a spear. That doesn't seem to have been considered one of the nisim. Yeah, but to me, it's a pretty big mess. Anyway, came Pinchas, the Chatam V'Yamakoim, threw them down in front of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lafan of Rabbeinu Shalom. Al Elu, and these two lowlights, Yiplu Eser V'Aba Elef Yisrael, 24,000 people are dying from Klal Yisrael. Shnemar, Vayu HaMesim the Magefa, as a result of Balpor, was above Eser of 24,000. It says, Vayamoy Pinchas Vayifalel. And Pinchas came by Yifalel. Amr Yaakov, Vayispalel in them. It doesn't say he davened. Elam Vayifalel. Vayifalel means he argued with. He argued with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like, how are you talking? How is it possible, as a result of these two lowlives, this should happen? Malame kaviyachol she asa plilos im koinai. Now what? That then he made plilos with koinai. He argued with Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Bikshu Malchi Asher says, Dochfai Malchi Asher wanted to go ahead and take care of Pinchas for speaking to Hakadosh Baruch Hu in such a way. Amalei Hakadosh Baruch Hu said, Hanichulai, this is a kanoi. Kanoi ben Kanoihu. He's a kanoi, the son of a kanoi. Right. First, Levi was a kanoi. He went ahead and he killed out Shechem ben Chamar for being ma'anis dina. And Meshav Chema ben Meshav Chema, he's a person who takes away my anger, as we see like Aaron by Kairach took away the anger. He's taking away the anger. Hiskul Shvatim mivazim. The Shvatim began making fun of Pinchas. Yisim ben Puti said, he's the son of Puti. What does Puti mean? Shepitim avi imoy agolim lagos kachavim. His mother's father, who was Yisro, he would fatten up agolim kiev svavodah zara. So that's ben Puti. B'hareg nasi sheva Yisrael, and he killed the prince of Yisrael. But therefore, the pasuk comes along and says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKayin. He has yichus. Don't then ben Puti. Look at his yichus. He's Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKayin. Amalei Kodesh Baruch Hu Moshe says Kodesh Baruch Hu Moshe Hagdem Shalom. Go ahead and be Magdim Shalom. Shenemar Lechein Amar Hine Nasati Eloi Esprisi Shalom. Ve'urue Kaparazu Shetei Mechaperes V'Ilechas L'Olam. This kapara is roy that what it should be forever. This kapara, because Baruch was always going to remember what he did. Amrav Nachman Amarav, Ma'idich Siv, Zarzir Masnayim, Oitoyosh, Umelech Alkum Imoy. What does that mean? Right? Arba Meas Ve'esrim Arba Be'ilois, Boil Oisir Rasha Oisir Yom. Zimri was boiled 420 Be'ilois, the Lashon Zarzir and Gematria is 420. He was boiled 420. The Himtim like Pinchas at Shetoshes Koiche, Pinchas waited till what? He became weak, right? And who you Shamalach Alkom Imay, Pinchas did not know that the Alkom, the Melech who goes ahead and takes retribution, would go ahead and be with him. So he didn't have to wait that long. The Masisa Tanner Bais says Shishim, he boiled 60 times at Shenasa Kebeitzim Mizeres until his Beitzim became cooked. He oisa barugas moyamayim, and Cosby she was full of zera. Amrav Kahana u'Moishva beisa, right? Moishva Cosby was the size of a beisa. Tan Reb Yosef keva shala ima. That was her keva was a ama. Amrav Sheshes like Cosby Shema. Her real name wasn't Cosby. Ella Shilvnoi Bas Tzura Shema. Her name was Shilvnoi Bas Tzura. V'lo menikra Shema Cosby. Why is she called Cosby? She Cosby Bavia, because she lied to her father, because her father told her to be with the Maisha, and she wasn't. Davrache Cosby, Shamalavia, Cosby Imzeh. She said, Cosby, go ahead, use me as a means of Kos to go ahead and slaughter these people. Behind the Damianshi, people would say, Ben Kone Luboni Shilnoi Maboy. Shilnoi, what's she doing among the reeds? What's she hiding there? Bahade Kalfe, the Kone Shivni Maboy. Why is she doing there? It must be she's hiding because Kafta Lima. She's a Zaina, she's a Zaina to her mother there. Amrab Yechon, Chamesha Shneima Sheshla, Zimri had 5 names. Zimri ben Saloi, 1, Shol ben Kananis, 2, Shmuel ben Sarishade, 3, Zimri, I had 3 names. Zimri, 1, Ben Saloi, 2, Shol ben Kananis, 3, Shmuel ben Sarishade, 4, must be... Let's break up, I guess. Shaul is 3, Ben Kananis is 4, Shmuel Ben Sadi is 5. Zimri, why is it called Zimri? Al Shanase Beitzah Muzeres. Zimri is Beitzah and became Muzeres. Ben Soloi Al Shehislim Avoyne Shel Mishpachtoi. He's called Ben Soloi because he caused people to speak negatively about his family. Shimon, guys, in the list in the Shoftim, there never was a Shofet for Shimon. From all the other Shvatim, there was a Shofet, a leader. Never from Shimon because of this Maisa. In other words, Shevet Shimon for eternity has the pagam of immorality. This is attached to the Mishpacha. You see that from this over here, from this name. Shola Shehishul Atzme L'Varavera. He lent himself to a Varavera. Ben Kananis Al Shas Maisa Kanan. He had a Maisa of Kanan's Nus. Umash Shemoy. What was his real name? Shmuel Ben Surishade Shemoy. That was his what? That was his real name. Okay. There's a unbelievable Ben Teres Chaim here. I share with you. So he said, "Loi koch l'maratani." Didn't you teach us when you came down from Sinai that Kanoim Poigim Ba. Amalei, so Moshe told Pinchas, Kraina Digrusa, the one that what, the one who read it, is what is Iu Lahave Parvanka. Nira, the Mahai Taima, Zacha Pinchas, Litorin Nishmasan, the Nadav Aviu. It's because of this reason that he was Zeicha to, because of this reason that he was Zeicha to the what? The Neshamis of Nadav Aviu. We're going to be a Zayar in a second that tells us a Peladic thing. We see a Zayar that tells us a Peladic thing, that what? That they were Zeicha, that Pinchas became Nadav Aviu. Kideisa b'Zayar. Kad al Pinchas ben Kama Achlusin, when Pinchas went among this multitude of people, again, he's going among the enemies, going among Shevet Shimon, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people. What happened? Porcha nishmasei, mine. His neshama left him. He had a heart attack. He died. Pinchas died. V'torin nishmasan, and there were two neshamas, the have that were artilin beloy duchte. They were artilin's lashon of literally naked. They were without a duchte. In other words, these were neshamas that were floating around. They didn't have a place. So ischalilu ba, they came into him. Biskarivu bechada, and they became one. Bishadre nishmasei, and he returned. So in other words, Pinchas he was the Gilgal of who? Of Nadav Avihu. Pinchas died when he came in. The neshamas of Nadav Avihu that didn't have a place yet, they went into Pinchas. The fishu tikin chaton shel Nadav Avihu, because Pinchas is going to be attacking the chet of Nadav Avihu. Lamanda Amar shemesu al shahira alacha b'fnei Moshe Rabban. According to the opinion, Nadav Avihu died because they paskin alacha b'fnei Moshe. Well, Pinchas layasa came. Pinchas did not do that. Cain afagav da alacha zu da boil kutis nis alma afil mi Moshe. He knew the halacha and it was hidden from Moshe. Afilu hachi leiratza laslis ma'isa miatzmoi b'lei rishus shel Moshe. He didn't want to do the ma'isa without asking Moshe rishus. So he wasn't Moira halacha and acted upon it. He first asked Moshe what to do, and Moshe told him, right, that you kind of digresa. V'amalei l'marateni b'vidcha mahar Sinai at shenasnei rishus. V'amalei kind of digresa. So in other words, Pinchas was metaking for the chet of, he's metaking for the chet of the fact that Nadav Avihu, they died because of being Moira halacha, so he was the opposite. He was metaking by not being Moira halacha, even though he knew the halacha and Moshe didn't. Okay. Upashta the Kra Mashma, Shechatu be'esh, but the pashtas of the pasuk by Nadav Avihu fellas, they bought an eish zara l'fnei Hashem, right? That was the pasuk says. They bought an eish zara l'fnei Hashem. Mashek rivu eish zara asher loit sivaisam ubezeh pagmu, and this pagmu ha'eish asher yorad min hashemayim shenemar v'tetzi eish l'fnei Hashem v'tochel al mizbeach. So what happened? We know on the day of the Miluyim, they put out the karbanis, and an eish came from Shemayim and miraculously ate them all up. And what happened? Vayar kol ha'am, all the nations saw this, vayiroinenu, and they cried out, vayiplu al pneim, they mamishlu gili ashchina. And what did they do? They took this eish and they went in and they burnt ketairis when they shouldn't have. So they took the eish that had come down from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they were paigeya, they blemished it. Lekach asa Pinchas v'tikin hachet hahu. And came along Pinchas, he was metaking for the chet of the eish. Where do you see that? The Pinchas hainu Eliyahu. Pinchas Eliyahu. V'gab Eliyahu ksiv v'hoya Elohim asher ya'ane be'eish uksiv v'atipol eish. Eliyahu is a maisha with the Baal, with the Karmiya Baal on Hara Carmel, where they go ahead and they set up karbanis. They said the Baal Carmel, you call out your getchkis to do something, and they don't do anything. Eliyahu calls out, and Eish comes from Shemayim, Berabim, and goes ahead and burns them up. That's the Maisa with Eliyahu, Ahar Carmel. Ukasiv v'atipol Eish, v'toichel es ha'oila, v'yar kol ha'am, v'yiplu apneim. Mamish, the same lashon that it says by Klal Yisrael in the Midbar, it says by Eliyahu Har Carmel, and Eliyahu was Pinchas. V'yidua ki tam soida Gilgal. What's the reason for the soida Gilgal, right? What's the reason of soida Gilgal? Kadeshi attacking the Adam mashachata kavar. The whole reason of the soida Gilgal is to go ahead and be metakin that was done before. Says the Torah Chaim, guys, miraculously, that Pinchas was a Gilgal of what? Of Nadav Avihu, and he did two actions to go ahead what? And be Machaper. First of all, he was not Moira Halacha L'fnei Rabbi, and Sveitens, in the form of Eliyahu, when Pinchas, who was Eliyahu, he went ahead and he was Makadish Tiesh, which had been Poigim Ayedei Nadav Avihu. How geschmack is that? Oh, it's super, super, just absolutely super. Okay, that's the Maisa, and we'll call it over here.